Hey guys, thank you for checking out Bucked Up. Just before we start, I would love if you'd hit the subscribe button, like, share the video. We have new episodes coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And starting in the new year, check out Wrapped Up exclusively on Vivo. This episode is sponsored by Exotic Roots Hydro, which I have to give a huge shout out to. They are a huge supporter of the podcast, and I'm really happy to be working with them. If you're ever in Rochester, New York, and you need to learn about any of your hydroponic needs, go to their shop. You can follow them at Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. Shout out their whole team. They have an amazing venue space. They're going to be putting on tons of events. Just make sure to follow Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. And if you're ever in Rochester, definitely stop by. Let's get back into it.
It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you have fucked up.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate this. I had so much I wanted to talk to you about, but I want to talk to you first about the DMT tattoo.
What, this whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a conversation starter.
Not a lot of people probably know what it is.
And I get asked a lot. You know what I mean? Every time I pick up a Starbucks or a fucking, visit.
What are the percentage of people in Starbucks that know what DMT is?
Thus far in my research, it's been a zero-sum game. But some of them guess closely. Like, I've had people be like, is that serotonin? Or, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, that's close. That's what I tell cops. Fucking, or that's what I tell.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, we don't.
Pulled over,
we don't tell the police nothing. We run. No, but yeah, it's actually, if you look at it, it's chemically almost identical to serotonin. DMT is one, like, cover that.
Yeah.
If you just covered the one thing, that's serotonin. So
I had
the
no
difference
idea
between
about that.
serotonin and DMT is one chemical bond, one little nitrogen atom, and it fucking.
When did you do it for the first time?
When I was born inside the furnace of the universe. No, fucking, it was probably about, I want to say 99 or 2000. A friend of ours had a brother that was going to Rutgers, New Brunswick, and studying to be a chemical engineer. So he's able to order whatever he wanted, pretty much. It was a research, chemical for research purposes. He had access to that sort of shit. And so he would procure all sorts of funny shit, like AMT, which is alpha methyltryptamine, which is a much longer.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
Yeah, that's what we were tweaked off of. That was what cracked my egg.
How long is the fucking trip?
It's a good 20-hour, like.
20 hours.
I mean, it's like, it felt very similar to like doing a lot of different drugs at the same time. Like there was definitely like,
Sorry,
sort of a speedy factor to it, to where you definitely were up for a long time, and then there was a good 2-day come down where you like.
That sounds horrendous.
There was many people that we did it with back then. We had a kind of a flop house that was, had people kind of coming and going, a revolving door of like, and some people would come and be like, I never want to do that again. Like that was, I had to like sleep for 2 days afterwards, and like it was too intense. You know what I mean? And then there were some of us that got like addicted to it when we were.
How often were you doing it?
All the time.
God damn. No.
It was,
Did you get lost in there?
So I can't make this shit up. Fucking Like we literally had our mattresses in the kitchen. Me and the one homie would have mattresses in the kitchen because we decided that was like the center of the universe for whatever reason, and because you could like, if need be, you could fucking piss in the sink if you know what I mean. Couldn't like there was the refrigerator.
You were
there.
tweaking.
We were fucked up, bro. It was it was a strange time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How old were you?
I was like 19 or something like that.
The last time I
was 17, I guess. So in 99, I was about 17 years old.
The last time I broke through, like as I was going through or as I was coming back, there was a voice that was like, "Don't get lost in here." Like literally, like loud, like a loud voice that was
it's
like.
been said that the entities that you may or may not meet on the other side there will have a message for you sometimes. Like you're not don't come either like don't come now you're not ready or don't
Or
get
just like-
lost or respect
Or don't go start living in your kitchen.
Right,
you think the fuck,
I mean, it was a crazy time, but yeah, it's funny. I'm, years and years later, I'm listening to like Kanye album, and he's like, tweaking off that 2CB, huh? And I was like, oh shit, he's
He
talking
knows what
about
he's
some of these
talking
drugs that
about.
we
Yeah.
were, experimenting with, and we really did feel like on some like Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type of shit, where we were like we felt like we were the only people on Earth that had this fucking. You know what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, back then when I tried DMT, I didn't really like it. I thought it was like this weird, short, little demonic trip that I didn't understand really, and I was more into the AMT because it was a long like.
Was it a full like you
Bro,
got?
you couldn't tell if your eyes were open or closed. Sometimes it was a slathering of your mind. You literally would be so confused sometimes, like you would think it was the infinite intricacies of the visuals were unlike anything I'd ever seen before. It was like it was just so detailed and so bizarre. I came back with the feeling of like either that was my mind, and my mind is more powerful than anything I fucking ever could have imagined, or that wasn't my mind, and it made me sort of believe that there's a a higher intelligence out there, which clearly if you look around you and you look at nature, there's something organizing all self-organizing systems.
How did you come back?
Oh, I mean, we being real?
Yeah.
Fucking heroin. You know what I mean? Like, I was fucked up at that point in my life. Sorry, I'm screaming in the mic. But we were in all sorts of,
You're doing
drug
it all.
trade and things
Yeah.
of that nature. We're literally
doing it
4
all,
minutes
yeah.
from fucking Camden, New Jersey, where this house was. We were like on the one little highway trip here, and so, and I was in a real kind of spacey state of where do you go from here and what do you do? And I was already like, with a lot of other bad influences kind of going on in my life, something that. And I clearly was already a drug user and experimenter, oh man, I fell into it in the early 2000s, you know what I mean? Super heavy. And it was something that kind of, because it dawned on me one day. And like I said, there's many other reasons why it happened, why I went that route. But one of the reasons was, and it dawned on me years later, I was like, there was nothing like that peak, that high of like, that ultimate truth, that fucking, you know what I'm saying? This message from on high type fucking revelation that you fucking have when you trip, that I was just kind of despondent and not really like in touch with the world that was actually around me, and was like, where do we even go from here? Like the world, like where do I go from? I don't know. I just and it was much easier to fall into some really bad habits and fucking being around the wrong people and the type of shit that let's just say, I won't even say the wrong people, it was the wrong people for me, and I could because every one of them had their reasons for why they're in that life, but luckily, and I can't I do pat myself on the back sometimes. A lot of people don't know it about me. I tell people here and there, and when I do, they're like, I can't even ever imagine that. I'm like, oh, I can. But like,
you were in it.
I don't know, it's just some certain things, but music was the way I kind of got out of that. You know what I'm saying? So if we taking it like that, like what got you out of the how did you come out of the AMT, DMT shit? Oh, and then years later, after I had already gotten my act together a little bit more and was back in my top form or whatever, trying to get there, the DMT was reintroduced into our lives while we were on tour over in San Francisco. Like homie was like talking to to the guy, and he's telling us about this shit he has, and he's talking this shit called changa, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Sounds like.
And you only knew his DMT as that demonic,
yeah,
quick,
right, exactly. I didn't really
yeah.
love the DMT back, you know. But you know, we were out there and we were like looking to trip, and we were getting some L and getting ready to have some fun, and it was like this guy was like saying all these things that reminded me of like shit that I experienced. Like they were like, "How are the visuals?" You know, and he would just like answer like, "Yeah." You know what I'm saying? Like
because
just one word
it's
answers,
not
you know,
really
and
visuals. Like,
well,
it's,
it
is visuals, but it's
what I'm
you
saying
go
is,
to another fucking dimension.
sure.
Like,
It's
like when
know.
you take, you know, when you take like a large dose of mushrooms and you'll look at a piece of art and like you not get it, but like it starts moving and it starts coming to life. Like those are visuals to me. Well, it's
Right.
like when I'm in a DMT trip and I talk to fucking Buddha,
Right.
like that's not visuals. That's like me in a different realm. Like
That's just true.
That's me in the Mortal
it's all
Kombat
levels of
realm.
the same
Like,
thing, though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Any visual that you see in the, you know, has a mental component to it. You know what I mean? Things are, like you said, moving. It's
Yeah.
usually with some sort of emotional attachment to it, or some, you know, and it may even be subtle, but you kind of feel things as you see them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why, like,
to the point where something melting could almost make you giggle or laugh, or
Yeah.
you're like, you know what I mean? You feel.
That's why
and that's what's actually important about it. You don't really just sit there and see shit. You experience it.
Exactly.
You know
That's
what
why I
mean?
like
You
to take
see-
mushrooms and see people's art, like whether it be looking at paintings or going to see music.
I like to take mushrooms and see people's souls. You
Yeah.
fucking literally could tell a good, you know, you could just tell a good energy off of somebody immediately when you've kind of removed that veil from your own eyes, and you're just kind of like letting life
ego's
hit you at
broken,
1,000
yeah.
miles an hour, and you're like, all right. And you could tell who's got too much crazy energy for you and who's got calming energy for you,
Exactly,
and like,
yeah.
you know, it all becomes this sort of, you know, these archetypes in your mind of like, you know, it's something I think is like essential for humans to at least try once in their life, at least to like crack the window or open the door a little bit to
break the ego. That's
yeah,
why
just
I went
to
to
show you there's more to your mental sphere than like, you know,
Yeah.
meets the eye. You know what I'm saying?
I went to speak at my college about the podcast, like to the seniors of my college, and they were asking me what to do it, and I talked about weed and shit. But I kind of I can't to like in front of teachers and shit be like, do DMT once, like,
Right,
you know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I say that you should do it once and then take a break.
Right.
Like that would be my like advice.
so
I also
there's
don't advise to do. I don't want don't advise any illegal illicit drug use.
No, yeah, don't do any.
But
don't,
I
drugs
did
are
it
bad.
onse and I took a break.
Right. So there's a school.
Oh, shout out crate diggers and
there's a school of thought that you know, the road to wisdom is through excess, and sometimes I tend to overdo it and get excessive with shit, and it teaches me you know, some.
because I've been told I have an addictive personality through family and shit, but like I never got lost in it, like.
Right.
And I also have like omens that show me what to listen to and what not to. Like the only time I did acid, a kid tried to rob me while I was peaking. And I've told this story on this podcast a ton of times, but
You'll have
like
to tell me, you know,
it, like-
maybe after.
no, I'll tell you,
Okay,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I took it on Cape Cod. It was snowy, it was rainy, it was gross and shit. And my friends wanted to go to a vape store. They had done it before. I had never done it. Like I had done mushrooms. And we go into the vape store right as I'm peaking. And I'm like, I can't do this. It's too much. So I go outside into this alley, and this kid's like, yo, come down here, like help me. Like he's like trying to get into a building, but I know it's a like abandoned building. He's like, come down here. And I'm like tripping, and I'm like, and then he like comes at me, and I'm fucking in sweatpants, I'm in Birkenstocks, and I scream, I'm like, get away from me, and I'm running away and shit. And he didn't rob it, but like as I was peaking on acid for the first time.
So
like,
yo, did this actually happen?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, that.
I had to ask the question.
No, I totally, yeah, it actually happened. And
Or
then
you just peeking really hard.
no,
No, yeah.
it was only a tab. It wasn't too
Right,
bad,
right,
but like,
right.
Mushrooms
it
are
wasn't
my
just
thing.
some like little old lady like waving you down. Like,
Hell, I need help.
no, don't run away, sir. I didn't.
No,
Okay.
But
Has anyone ever asked you that before?
yeah.
Okay.
And I've thought about it. Like,
Was it really that bad? No.
no,
But,
it was. Because there was only like
and
two.
That's a terrible experience.
That's
to
probably
have.
the only 2 times I've ever gotten like someone's tried to rob me was then.
I'm so surprised that you've tried hallucinogenics after that.
Mushrooms are different.
What do you mean?
Mushrooms are different.
No, they're not.
I think it's very different. I like how short mushrooms are.
I guess you could say that part of it, but in general, it's kind of the same animal. There's people that can tell me different if they want, but in general, it produces a lot of the same effects, maybe in slightly subtler, nuanced ways of like, there's maybe more of a body high with mushrooms.
Okay, but
or
you
something,
just smoke weed and not tobacco. We talked about this before.
right.
Like, I just smoke weed, not tobacco. That's something that, like, I don't push on anyone because, like, I call it the vegan of the smoking world.
Right.
Like, I feel like a vegan when I'm like, cut it out of your system. And they're like, shut the fuck up. You know? Like,
Right. No, but you're not wrong.
but I don't tell anyone. I just, like, I smoke my weed. If someone passes me a blunt, I don't hit it. You know, if someone passes me
Yeah,
a
you're
spliff.
not a self-righteous prick. You know,
Exactly.
like, hey,
But I feel like mushrooms and acid I feel like acid's like a blunt and mushrooms are like a joint.
why though?
Because it's natural. You can't get like,
Oh, it's LSD is natural.
yeah, but
Ergot,
I know
you know.
people who have fucking acid is like fucked them up. Like,
I know people who mushrooms have fucked them up. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I do know what you mean.
Like it really is case by case, and I think it could possibly be that, you know, I've had some of the most blissful and smooth trips on L. I think mushrooms can change gear on you in a second, and you're, you know, and that's maybe due to my experience. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's
Like,
true because
where-
something can happen and it just like,
well, even just the strength and potency of the trip, mushrooms are hard to gauge sometimes how strong they are, and
Yeah.
how much you normally eat one time would not be as strong as the other, or
Yeah.
you know, or just in general how it onsets and metabolizes depends on how much you've eaten that day and so on and so
you've
forth.
learned a lot about like the science of it, like with.
You know what? I guess.
Because you were talking about weed earlier about that. Like, you were talking about, like, kind of like the actual science of it.
Well, you know, it helps to know when you're, you know, kind of
Because you said you were
around it a
coming
lot,
up with
you know?
the when you got that AMT DMT, it was you were with like a kid at Rutgers who could
Yeah,
get that stuff.
yeah.
Were you learning it back then, or after you got out of it? You're like, I want to learn more about
probably
this
a little
stuff.
bit more after the fact, like
Alright.
you know, a lot of when I was like in some recovery time,
Yeah.
watching YouTube.
How old were
videos
you when
and
you
shit like
recovered?
that.
Like when in your
Let's
recovery
say
time?
so 2012 when I dropped Scumbag Millionaires.
That's why I wanted to
was
ask,
the-
is because you had
was the year that I got off methadone. So I was on that for like, I want to say 5-6 years or something like that, trying to,
yeah.
you know, which was absolutely in my struggle essential. And everybody I know in my life today, and I have like 2 or 3 homies that are like super solid. I'd put them on my level of like not ever worried about them slipping back into the life.
Yeah.
And they're totally good now, and they're like fucking solid dudes. And they all went that route as well. They all did a couple years on the clinic and like found their way out of it through that, because they were able to get their life in order while they were recovering, because they had maintenance therapy instead of just trying to go cold turkey. Because for people like us that were like, bro, I was booting 6 bags at a time at times, you know what I mean? Like crazy. I had I don't know how I didn't die. It was literally right around when the fentanyl started to come around. This was years and years ago. Fentanyl had been around for a while. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely, you know, it was just starting to come around then. And I remember overdosing a few times, but like, you know, one time being brought back and one time fucking like cops were there, everything. You know what I mean? Fucking whole shit. Fucking, I'm an open book. I don't fucking care. You know, people can judge all they want, but it is what it is.
They should, because
I mean,
because everyone knows, like,
it almost like in a way kind of gives reference to some of the music, and like, because if people have wondered like, oh, what really is he talking about, and what is the life that he's, you know, portraying here, it comes from a real place. Like, I was in the streets heavy, you know, in a way that, like, I don't think people other than people that are living that same life understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it fucking, it almost killed me. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, so then, again, music was my way
So
out
how
of that
did-
shit. While I was on the methadone clinic, I was recording music. I was literally just hitting people up like, yo.
But you said you have a couple people that you know will never go back, like, through methadone. How do you, like, what about that, through your experience, like, how do you know that in your head? That you and these homies will never go back?
Yeah, well, one, I think when you've been through enough of that kind of punishment and that kind of self-inflicted, like, stupid shit, being in jail, fucking, you know, just suffering because you're fucking sick over the drugs, you know, that kind of shit. And I know that these cats that I'm talking about have been to that level of it. And I know their character. I know their build now. I see what they're doing with their daughter or their business or their, you know what I'm saying? So I think I've always been a good judge of character. And if I wasn't, I was taught it by this, you know, by the experiences I had in you know, in the life that I was living. And so, yeah, it's, you know, it feels good though. It feels good to know that they're good. You know what I mean?
100,
like,
and that you have accountability, because you need other people, like, because so many people tell you that you're, like, I don't know, I was told that, like, you're alone, like, no one, you die alone, you know, but fuck that. That's not true. You need like,
no man is an island.
In every fucking business is people trusting each other to grow, and that's everything. Like, you need to have you need to have a good judge of character, but you need to, like, trust in people to grow as a person, as a business, as a community. It doesn't matter what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't start with that fundamental basis or base assumption that, like, all, you know, that people are good and that you know, it's okay to, like, you know, rely on each other, you know, nothing great can ever be built. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that fundamental ideology that, like, all right, we, you know, positive energy.
And I know this isn't the same thing at all, and I'm not trying to do this just as a cheap plug, but, like, I had come to Philly as a kid, never, and this place, Crate Diggers, was the first place I came to Philly.
Came to the right place.
And, like, legit felt like home, like, legit, he made it feel like home. I hung here for an hour, we chilled, I looked at basically every record.
Bob is, like, the perfect guy.
Legit.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah.
No, that
Bob
means, like, for real.
Store.
And then for us to record here and me to be able to do it with you, because I'm a big fan of you, like,
that's love, man. I appreciate that, bro.
No, for real. Like,
but yes, yeah. As soon as you said something, I was like, that's perfect. You know, I knew you were just here the other day, but yesterday. But everyone's been saying, you know, we needed a spot like this, and man came along and fucking, you know.
Killed it. Killed it. Everyone, honestly, if you want, I've never seen a vinyl shop like this.
It sounds like a plug, right?
It does sound like a plug, but I'm not trying to be.
Of, like, hip hop.
I mean, I'm smoking weed. I can't be that good of a plug. Like, I'm not trying.
Hey, music and weed go together like
perfectly.
Fucking,
no, 100%. Yeah. And also, your music's been playing in the background.
Oh yeah. Now we got a couple records going for sure.
I didn't even realize that was the acid tabs until I saw the record cover
again,
here.
shout out to PQ, man, because he just
shout
really,
out PQ.
Like, he really he's one of those guys, man, that, like, he just has a wealth of ideas and, like, a wealth of, like, knowledge and understanding about the culture. So any idea you try to communicate to him, it's just met with, you know, like, 10 more ideas. You know what I mean? Like, he's just, like, you can bounce anything off of him and he's ready
and
to,
he
like,
loves it. I remember when he was one of my first interviews, and when he was telling me about when you came to him and when you guys worked on your, like, he was talking about such passion and love, you know?
No, he's a true artist, and definitely, like, in the truest sense of the word, it, like, keeps, you know, how am I trying to say, like, yo, he was, like, hitting me with ideas after idea after idea and, like, executing them, like, just to show me them. Like, and they were amazing, and I'm just like, I was able to just, like, green light everything. I'd just be like, yeah, let's do that, let's whatever. And he would be hitting me with all these, like, ways to. It was like it helped turn what was just like a bet of a project. Someone bet me $100 to fucking
Yeah,
finish
you
the
said
project.
that.
Yeah,
You said that. OT. Shout out OT.
Yeah, OT fucking hit me during the first like couple weeks of the quarantine. Like, yo, I bet you $100, you fucking lazy bum. You can't get a project done in a week. And I was like, you're beat. I'm gonna fucking And so
And that's when he did Soul Provider.
Soul Provider, and
Which is an
he's on all
amazing project.
the skits at the end. Like he's the fucking voice at the end of the But point being is fucking PQ helped fucking turn that project to where we were I was just like I got it done, and like I was like, cool, we slapped 5 songs together, and PQ like put 4 corners on it and made it a fucking. You know
that
what I'm saying?
album
like
cover is so like iconic, project cover.
Exactly about that. Where I was like, yo, bro, you just gave me my like ODB, food stamp cover. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when anyone thinks of me, I think they think of like maybe that image.
And that's why I'm happy that you had him do your second album, because now like when I think of like the new music that you're putting out, like I think about him. Like
PQ,
exactly. Go ahead.
He has already done some stuff for the next project that we're about to drop. That's actually produced by the same guy over here, True Metals. So it'll be kind of like a volume 2. We're still working on the title, but we were calling it "Talk to Me Nice" too, or "Talk to Me Nicer." But we're working on that. But so that's gonna be
a crazy amount of music that you keep like dropping little like when we're talking, you're like, oh, I've got this coming out.
It's a constant topic of discussion with my close homies that like, because I've been sitting on a lot of this shit for years. That like it's got to come out, you know what I mean? We got a lot of shit to drop in 2022. So
I want to talk about that, but I do want to go back to what made you record that album then in 2012.
Just meeting fucking True Metals. He was, someone I've kind of known about, and then
I mean, back in 2012, was that?
Oh, you talking about
old? Yeah.
That was me getting out of the shit and trying to find a purpose.
But were you rapping before that?
Yes, what I mean. I was as I was in the in and out of the street life. I had been working on music and trying to just
Damn, I just cherried that shit. My fault.
Happens, fucking. So, and then we I was trying to get my shit together. I had just got up enough money to buy like a fucking a PC, you know what I mean, like some like little desktop computer, and got some like cracked version of Adobe Audition.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Cool Edit is what I used to. I've been doing it since it was Cool Edit or whatever. So fucking and over the years, just I would have bouts of it where I would be like in the studio for like 2-3 months hard. And then like kind of fall out of love with it and go, do some other shit or, but it was always like a passion, a burning, like in the back of my head, like, I would always have little ideas for bars and I would write them down all the time. And it'd be like, it used to be like a little piece of paper all in my pocket. Now, then it would eventually was in my phone or whatever. And that's still part of my writing process to this day.
Yeah.
I just go through my phone and look at all the little notes and shit that I wrote down and craft shit out of that. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you're on another push now, or do you feel like you're on the same push as like for the past couple of years?
So it feels like another push to me because I feel like I took a year off. And I did. I didn't drop anything last year. Because there was a few projects that we were working on that didn't exactly get finished in time to drop this year, and or certain things got put on the back burner for other artists to do a project that they wanted to drop first. You know what I mean? If it was a collaboration project, they're like, oh, well, I got to drop this project first, and so on their timeline. So that's another thing for this year is we're gonna make sure I'm focusing more on some music for myself that I can, and that's kind of what this project is. True Metals just kind of gives me free reign. He's like, he sends me beats and fucking, he sends me like.
How did you guys meet?
So that was through, I had just kind of known about him through the internet, and like a couple of other artists from Jersey that fucking worked with him. He's from like up in North Jersey, and Ren did a project with him, Ren Thomas. Mm-hmm. And then from that, I like was following him on the gram, and then he would like post beat videos and I think we like started like linking through email or something. And then, eventually like when he started sending me beat packs, like it was a lot of producers. It's sometimes hit or miss with a lot of shit, and that's okay, because not all of my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you got different vibes for different things. Just because it don't fit me, it don't mean it's. But like all his shit fit me. You know what I mean? Like every beat he would send me, I'm like, this is like perfect album material. This is, and then like even in the order he would send it in, I'm like, this is, I gotta maybe switch one or two songs, but it's like, this shit is a vibe the whole way through. You know what I mean? So I just did that little 5-song EP with Rome Streets and Fast Life, which is that joint, and it came out really dope. I was like, this shit is fucking crazy. I like his sound, And so working with PQ, we formulated an idea for like kind of the next one, and fucking.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by the podcast Woody Two Shoes, hosted by comedian Thatcher Wood. Other than being a really good friend, Thatcher is one of the funniest comedians and podcasters I know. Woody Two Shoes is available on all podcast platforms. It's a comedic podcast where he interviews a different interesting person each week, and they get into a bunch of different topics. You should subscribe to his YouTube channel too. At 100 subscribers, he's giving away merch. At 500 subscribers, he's giving away a PS5. That's right. Yeah, a PS5. So make sure you go subscribe to Woody Two Shoes on YouTube, and follow Thatcher on Instagram at Wood Two Shoes. 2 is in the number. Wood Two Shoes on Instagram. Let's get back into it.
So we're working on the part 2 to that, basically. He sent me another pack of beats, and it was basically like, he sent me like 10 beats, and I was like 9 of them I think I used. So I was like, we're using 9 of them next time. So it's a little longer of a project.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have a couple guest features, just like 1 or 2. But they'll be heavy hitters.
How much
for
are
sure.
you sitting on?
Like 4 projects probably, but like, and a couple more intended ones that I'm like haven't worked on yet.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brosco, coming for you, motherfucker.
But you're on this different push. You took the year off.
Yeah, kinda. Yep. Getting a lot of other parts. So in that, upbringing of fucking kind of being a degenerate, I had neglected a lot of aspects of my life, and so I had to get my household in order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to, you know what I'm saying? There was just rooms that needed to be cleaned out and things I had to deal with. There was, it was tough. In 2016, I had lost my mom, and fucking, so it was a big readjustment for me in life to where like I was completely then on my own. I had nobody looking out. All the bills got to be paid. You know what I mean? So. And it was headed that way anyway. You know what I mean? I was kind of, from before mom passing, but fucking, it's been a while. It takes, sometimes it's happened to some of the greatest artists I've ever known personally. I've seen them sidelined by life. Like shit just happens, and
100.
like they have to do what they have to do in their life, and they can't focus with the laser, precision that they need to be a top like tier artist that's like always, chasing the bigger audience or the, you know what I mean?
The
or
reason
like,
I asked that is because like I'm 24 and I'm in the grind now, and I'm addicted to the grind. Like,
right.
But I feel like I neglect a lot of other stuff because I'm so addicted to just like, I want to get to the top. You know what I want to push. Like I want to fucking.
Though. That's the only
you
way.
Do
you have to have
yeah.
escape velocity, like Nipsey said. Like if you're a rocket ship trying to get to outer space, which is somewhere that you can't really go. It's really hard to go, man. It's fucking, you gotta. But if you want to get there, you have to like have a really, what's the word? Concerted effort. You know what I mean? Like, a unified front of a fucking, everything's got to go into it to fucking get there. You know what I mean? So if you don't fucking,
but then you
do
feel
it now,
like
you're gonna not be in the lane that you want to be in when you're, when
but
you're
then I
trying to
feel like
merge,
I neglect family, and I know that they're not there forever. As you say.
This is what happened to me. It honestly haunts me, like fucking, like it keeps me up nights, or when I wake up at 3 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. The tears come sometimes, man. It's like you've really, like, grief is tough, man. You don't realize the things that you don't realize until, like, so with that said, you gotta make time for your family too. Yeah. And this is why artists do it. They're like, yo, I have to sacrifice.
You have to take
I have to take, this art has to take.
And that's why I don't ask it in a rude way, like, why did you take the time off? But like, I want to know, because people have to realize that you're like a real, everyone's real people that have to deal with real shit.
This is crazy, right? So kind of in that, to build on that, literally mom passed, buried her, but we had a whole 20-city tour scheduled in, 16, I'm sorry. And it kicked off March 16th or something. I had to open, my mom passed on like the fucking 3rd, and I had a Mobb Deep show. I was opening for Mobb Deep before having, before P passed.
Yeah.
And mom passed. It's the 3rd. I had a show on the 5th. I went and did the show because what else was I gonna do?
Yeah.
Were
you lost at the show, or were you able to power through?
I was definitely able to power through, and I had all my team there with me. Like I said, we were about to go on tour in a fucking, and it was, I was right in the middle of that grind. Like I was like, my mom would have wanted this, like she would have, and I was still obviously grieving, but it was a powerful experience to be able to like go let some shit out. I think I, brought it to the crowd's attention even, and people always got respect for the, for that type of thing. And so it was just like a somewhat of a healing experience, right? But on the other hand, right, I went on, and then I was debating on whether to go on tour. Like that's what I really struggled with. I like the show. I like kind of didn't really struggle with that so much. I was like, damn, do I go on this? Like, cause that's when it was like really starting to sink in, and like things around the house, I had to like attend to things, but I was like, no, if I don't go, I'm gonna watch them on tour. And I had already been on one tour, so I was like, I have to go. Like each time we were building better connections with people and venues, and learning the independent route of touring. Shout out to Adlib and shout out to J.O. the Last Man, Sensi Star. Like they was paving the way for us in that respect. And me and Ren Thomas would go along on the route and fucking just get a chance to perform in front of mad people and sometimes not so many people, and
exactly.
But having getting to meet people all across the country. So what was I talking about?
You were talking about you were debating going on tour.
So I went on the tour, and I did good most of the time. I had one moment like 3 weeks into the tour where like I woke up early on Easter, I think, and fucking got locked out of my hotel room, and I couldn't get back in my hotel room, and no one was up. It was like fucking 6 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And I like almost lost it, man. I was like starting to get like, I just, could have just been tour fatigue.
But
point being is after that, it was kind of nonstop, and I was just kind of distracting myself, jumping from one distraction to the next, and not realizing I was just trying to keep that high from the tour going, and not really dealing with the death and the grief of from the death and I lost my grandfather a year before, and he was I lived with him. I lived with my grandfather and my mom, and he was taking care of my mom as she was sick. He was 95. I don't know if you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So my 95-year-old grandfather passed. My mom passed the next day, and they were my nuclear family. That was who I fucking lived with. You know what I mean? And was trying to get my life together while I was living there, recovering. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Man, fucking, it was a crazy time, and it definitely was like I had to start slowing down and like eventually stop. The Sensi Star thing kind of like had like dissolved a little bit, because like Jay was doing the burger bar stuff, because like fucking that's a whole crazy story. Like Philly Smoke Sessions got raided, and fucking we had to like it was a whole fucking thing, and so that kind of like put the brakes on a lot of shit, and it's tough to keep a good thing going, man. Sometimes
that's why I feel like you have to like try to balance it all out, because we were talking earlier about like the DMT, that high, like that's a different, that's a high.
I was trying
being
to
on stage, being on stage like that, that's a high that like you can chase to an unhealthy amount, but you have to. It's like with drugs, there's not like a level where it's like, oh, this is beneficial to me in a public sense, but with performing there is, because like that's how you want to make. But like then you can go too far over into it and you get lost.
I've always felt that I gained most of my fans or whatever you call like supporters, like diehard supporters from live performances, and that fuels that passion for it, where I'm like, it is a high of like wanting to like be able to control the crowd. I'm able to translate what I'm saying so much better than on like I'm working on having my music match my intensity live, you know what I mean? Because I grew up watching guys like Vodka and Slaughter Rico and fucking like you know what I'm saying, the DVD era, like acapella, just hold your attention for 10 minutes with fucking 8,000 bars that you just will just, you know, leave your whole brain fried. You're just like, what the fuck? Does he have an alien chip in his brain? Or like, how did he come up with all that? Like, and clearly dudes was like half dusted and on, you know, on shit. You feel me? Like where you're like, yo. And I grew up watching that, so fucking that was the type of.
But you can still make music. I mean, like recorded, like in studio. Like that's why I love these two projects, and that's why
I'm
like
better at it.
You haven't put an album out since 2018.
Yo, it's all about
like a real album.
Oh yeah, maybe the Only Users Lose Drug came out in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
So that's a long time
like 5
for
years.
like.
I was just riding on, that was like right after Mom passed. I had put a lot of those tracks are older than that too. I just like compiled them, put it out. You know what I'm saying? Had my homie Jeezy do the artwork and fucking, you know, because I was like, damn, I gotta put something out, or people are gonna think I'm like fucking retired. You know what I mean? Like the last thing I had before that was like maybe 2015. I dropped Ecto Cooler with Mr. Green and got it on it was on BET. Fucking like it was Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, fucking.
That's crazy.
And
what was it? That was 2017.
2015.
Oh, so this was before.
Yeah, fucking. So it's been a strange
So was that
ride.
at like a highlight?
Ride.
So did that happen? And we don't have to go deep into it, but did that happen like right at your like when you felt like you said you were mid-grind?
Right about then, yeah, I was doing shit with Rent. We were doing Don't Be Mad, like it was just a little EP me and him did together, and like I was definitely sharpening my sword. I was getting better in life. I was like getting more healthy and, you know, kind of like, you know, getting my priorities straight and fucking right around then I was fucking.
But now you feel like now you can culminate all that shit into like.
Yup. Yeah, I was right at the top of my grind at like 2015, like starting to feeling like I was getting, it was BET thing happened and fucking, you know, and that was like a blessing and a curse too, because I was like, I had to make everything after I did that better than that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because that just kind of got tossed in my lap and it happened and I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, and then I got like a little bit of local notoriety for it. So like it put this pressure on me, I felt, but like, it should have. That's what you're supposed to, you know. Yeah. You want to be able to rise to the occasion.
Well, that's why you get addicted to the grind, is because those things happen. You're like, well, I just have to do the next thing. Exactly, I have to do the next thing, and then you're like, I can't even take a week off. Like, no, I was literally mad on Christmas Eve.
Like you can't be closed a day, otherwise.
I was mad on Christmas Eve because it was fucking Christmas Eve. I should be happy with you know what I mean? But I'm like, I can't do shit. I can't like go out and do a show. I can't, you know. It's like, what the fuck? It's an actual like addiction to like
it is, and as long as it's not like literally destroying you, I think it's important to follow you. That's your soul's calling, man. That shit's drawn towards creative.
But happiness is important,
and happiness is important as long as you're finding happiness in that.
Yeah,
you know, that's good. As long as it's not driving you crazy. People have obsessions that really, you know, they run themselves into the ground.
People listening to this might think I'm crazy, but I do really enjoy this. But it is the grind, and I'm right at the point where it's like, it's hard I don't know if you feel this, but it's like hard getting notoriety, but then also it's like, damn, like all my shit's going back into this. Like I don't have my own place. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
so that was another part of shit, right? Yo, I wasn't working on music because I was at the point in my life where like, yo, I really started feeling like a very irresponsible adult. Yeah. To where I was like, I don't have I like can't make the time don't get me wrong. I have the time. I literally bust chills all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm around. Yeah. But there was things that I wasn't attending to. Like I said, like my garage was fucking crazy. Like there was boxes and like it was just, put it this way, lots of things. There was just shit going on that like I needed to do to feel like I'm living you know, even just feeding myself, like being a better person, or like having a schedule of like eating at regular times. Like all this shit was fucked up for me. I was like, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, I was in bad shape at one point in my life. So it was things like that where I was like, I gotta do that. Like I can't be up till 3 a.m. fucking working on a mix.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm gonna be fucking like just like I gotta get up in the morning and like have a regular breakfast.
When did you start your routine?
Like my routine probably started in the like around the quarantine, to be honest with you. It's only been the past couple of years that I really fell into, like I started getting my mind right well before that, but I wasn't getting my whole situation right up until the quarantine, where like I was like able to like, you know, make a little bit more I was able to put a little more effort into some things that I didn't have time for before, and they started to become more of a priority in my life. And you know, I had to, you know, but now I think I'm starting, you know, a lot of that shit was just like, I had property tax bills like fucking piling up. Like, yo, it was just mad shit going on where I was like, yo, I can't make music today. Like
you got other shit to focus on. And you got all that shit. So
now everything's cool. Yeah. Like everything's fucking.
And now do you feel relaxed?
And it does. And it's that momentum thing of like trying to get to that escape velocity of like, you start to realize like, yo, to keep this momentum up and you really got to stay on top of shit. You can't let a day go by. And I'm getting older. We all getting older.
Yeah.
And like you really start to realize like, yo, every day is super precious.
Yeah.
It really is. And the grief and the death thing reminding you of that sometimes was really like a powerful moment in my life where like it took a couple years to sink in. But once I started realizing how the grief was affecting me, I was like, yo, yeah, I can't like waste time. Like this shit is.
You have to use it. It
is very like, you know.
You have to use it.
I was just so shocked by it when it happened. Like it was an unexpected death. Like, you know what I mean? And in both sense, even though my grandfather was 95, he fell and broke his hip and that's why he died. You know what I mean? Like the complications from that, you don't heal from that type of thing. So both of them were unexpected deaths, and it was a big change to my whole like worldview where I was like, oh shit, I'm just alone now. Like there's, you know, I don't have like a lot of family, if any, in the area. I've got one aunt.
And that's what we were talking about before, about you have to find like you're alone, but you have to find people. Like you have to find your own.
I'm an only child to
I'm an only child too. Yeah.
So I got 2 half brothers that's fucking 30 years older than me. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah.
My dad.
I have 2 step siblings, but I'm an only child.
Got you, right. So similarly, I wasn't raised with them. You know what I mean? So like, point being, I like to be around people. You know, I also like to. I don't mind being solo, and I definitely enjoy my solo time because that's how I am. Yeah, being an only child. You know,
my mornings
I
are
love having that like extended family of, you know. And I've been if one thing in my life if we're getting real and like just talking about that type of life shit, like when I look back and if I like getting down and feeling like it's dark times or whatever, like or even just trying to count my blessings, that's one of the things that always comes up to me. I'm like, I got a good network of people that like I've been super lucky to know. Super lucky. Like I think about it a lot, like where I'm like, damn, if I didn't know all these, like my life would be so uninteresting and so fulfilling, and so like I would feel so unseen. You know what I mean? Like people, these people understand. That's why it hurt super bad when fucking Rich Quick passed. Man, I felt he was like one of my very good friends in the like. We commiserated a lot about, you know, we gotta do this show or fucking blah blah blah. And we were like really say, and I felt very seen by him. Like he got me. He was like, yo, bro, you know, he would like break it down for me sometimes. I'm like, yo, you get it, man. Like, and that's a good feeling. And then when he passed, it fucking made me feel like that was ripped away from me, and not to sound selfish, but you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I totally,
that was how I like felt it when he passed. I was like, damn, like it felt so like it was a monumental piece though of like my.
You have a bar about that. You go, I understand Uzi.
Yeah,
when he says yeah.
Yo, shout out to Philly artists in general, but yeah, Uzi's a real one too, man. He's a giver, man. He fucking gives back to the community around here. Even like
I get hate because I'll wear Uzi t-shirts on interviews with shit, and it's like, fuck
with Uzi. Like he's met my dog. Fucking when I had him over at Suplex.
Oh really?
I'll show you some video later.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, but he's around. He be pulling up. Fucking he's in the neighborhood. Pulls up with a crazy $1 million fucking
his Bugatti with
bass
the
unit.
with the anime on it,
bro. It's like it's a crazy thing. But anyhow, fucking
No, but So you, thank you for doing this. I know it's almost, but shit, you did say you had shit coming out. You got the fucking,
Yep.
you said you had the show with Benny the Butcher.
Yep, I got a joint with a project with Ice Rocks that's like
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm
9
so
songs,
excited
I
to hear
think,
that.
And Benny's a feature on it, so that's gonna be dope when that drops. And yeah, shout out to everyone involved in that, because I think it's gonna be. My man Dread Solo did the artwork. You know?
Oh, really? Damn.
You familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah,
he's
we
a
follow each other.
Super talented.
So
like,
talented. It's crazy how much
another guy
talent.
with the knowledge too. Like you could
Yeah.
talk to him about
Oh,
all
yeah.
that shit. Yeah, you know what I mean. Any type of hip hop related and probably otherwise related.
Yeah.
Like music, art, fashion. Just type of shit, man. He's on it. He always impressed me with his scope of his his knowledge.
I didn't know how this podcast was gonna go. Thank you for getting real with me and having
man.
a little
That's what we do.
I appreciate that a lot.
People
This
like
is
I would treat them in real life. Fucking, I think that's one
100%.
of the reasons I've gotten around in this little industry or whatever is like people fuck with me on a personal level because they know what they're getting. You know what I mean? They're not like, and even if they don't, it's they'll find out. You know what I mean? And I'm a big champion of you got to be. Like you said, if you're in the community, you got to be upstanding individual in it, and you got and it really helps when, because I like to sing praises of people to help lubricate that. You know what I mean? If I fuck with Bob, you know what I mean? And
shout out Bob from Crate Diggers.
So I find myself and people ask me yo, you got steak in the record store or something? You're always I'm like, nah,
he's a great dude with an amazing shop.
You gotta show love,
yeah.
man. You gotta show love, and so it's nothing grows without it. You know what I mean? So and I'm just trying to reciprocate the love that's shown to me. You know what I mean? So it's always one hand wash the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this, for real. Thank you to Crate Bob and Crate Diggers for having us here. Everyone come when you're in Philly. Everyone check out the shit that when's your next project dropping? No date. ASAP.
Yeah.
All right. Follow you on Instagram at Screwdini.
Yeah.
Follow PQ. Follow Crate Diggers.
Crate Diggers Philly.
Listen to all of Skrewtape shit. It's insane.
Bro, I appreciate you so much, man.
I appreciate you.
It's an honor to meet you.
Peace out, everyone.